Hi friends, this is Chris with Josephine's Designs. I am back with some projects that I have previously done or in the process of doing that were lost to me. They were in the lost, I don't know, caverns of the basement. And so when my husband and youngest daughter were cleaning it out or reorganizing it, um, I found these. And so yesterday I asked my daughter, I said, would you go down and get me that box? So I used to take needlepoint classes with a kind of a new neighbors type group in Wimberley, Texas. And in that, I was blessed to have found an incredibly talented teacher, and Miss Jean, if you're out there. And she was not just a good teacher; she was an amazing friend, and I just so appreciated her. She taught us needlepoint in a different way. So this is the kind of needlepoint that I grew up with. You know, the typical slant line needlepoint that you just left to right, that kind of a thing. But what she taught us was a variety of stitches and, patterns and bargellos and things like that. This tends to be a lot more of that typical, but there are projects within this book. And I just got this at a used bookstore. I have another one floating around here somewhere as well. I was going through and marking some of the projects that I want to do. And I was just having a good time because I haven't seen these books in probably, I don't know, it's been years. So, but I was going, and I have tons of needlepoint books. Um, so this is a painted needlepoint canvas. And so this is petty point. So this is just like teeny, tiny. I don't know if you can even tell how tiny it is, but it is only partially done. I bought this I bought this in 94. Yes, that's how much it hit the black hole and never came back out. So I decided I'm just going to finish it. This won't take me that long. The only killer is I had to order a magnifying lighted magnifying glass. When I started this, I had better eyesight. Now I have terrible eyesight, but I do want to finish it. I bought this from a needlepoint store down in Corpus Christi, Texas. It was not inexpensive, especially for that time in our lives, but we were going through a series of my dad had 3 major surgeries in which he believed he was not going to survive. My father-in-law passed away. My uncle passed away. And it was all within a matter of a few months. And so I began reading heavily and doing things like this and doing cross stitch, or not cross stitch, needlepoint and things like that. I just had to keep busy. My older 2 were young. They were littles. And I just knew I had to keep a level of sanity in all of that. It was just every time we turned around, something was going on. Somebody was in an emergency room. Somebody had, unfortunately passed away. And so it was, my dad did survive it. They found out what was wrong, and he had a very, very serious, I can't remember if this, I can't remember everything, but it was so serious that they really thought he was not going to survive. They thought it was a type of autoimmune disorder that was attacking his body. But it just was one of those kinds of situations where you just go, "Yikes! I am not going to." He was giving things away. It was just terrible. It was terrible, and he would call and leave these very sweet messages, but they were just so. He wanted to make sure everything was said. So he did live until 2017. So it was wonderful that he said those things then, and then he said them again in 2017. So, anyways, but back to what I found. So I found this one. I'm going to finish this sweetie up. I have one more that I put back in the box, and it's over there, and it's a little England. When I was a little girl, my aunt used to send me the England girl books and dolls, and I even had bookends. One got broken. My cousin was the blonde one. I was the brunette. She even found the blonde and the brunette bookends. And then over there is an old school desk that they found in an old school that was being torn down. And it's the kind that has where the ink well goes and it lifts up, and you have the inside of the desk. And so my aunt painted a scene with the England little girl and boy, and then My sister was a blonde, or still is, and so she was the blonde one. And the one I found is a blonde one. I may make her a brunette. I haven't done the hair yet. I've only started on her bow, and I may take all that out because I may vary the stitches even more. So, because I had started that one long before I took these classes with our friend. So, let me share with you some of the things I did in the class. Now, this is just a sampling. I'm not going to dig everything out. I'm not going to bore you to death. But you know this is an old bag because Southwest Texas State is now Texas State. So, all right. So I think this was the first one that I did. And she just had kits, and so we were able to purchase them. So this was not drawn on. We did draw the square on, or maybe she did, but everything was counted. So you have different kinds of stitches in here that she taught us. And then we even have some beading and just more. This was so easy. This is just a cross stitch, to be honest. But it was just so much fun to see something that... now I'm looking at it, I see maybe 2 mistakes, but anyways, I know you probably could all see that one because it's so dark, but, or so contrasted and in color, but just we even took like a field trip to a beautiful needlepoint store up in Austin, and it was beautiful. So I loved this so much, I did another one, but I varied a little bit of the stitches and just had a good time and did more of the colors I wanted to do. We got these kits. It's gorgeous, but those weren't my colors. And at the time, this was my color. These were some of my colors. So I enjoyed that. And we did not have 2 pennies to rub together at that time. My husband was in grad school. We had 3 children. We were poor. We were very, very poor. So, and then this is one that I can't remember if she gave me the pattern or I found it. I think I found, maybe this was another class I took with her. I can't remember, but this is all beaded on the outside. If you can't tell, there's little heart beads in the center of those beads. It's all counted. I don't want to put a background in it because I don't want to take away from the actual work, because once you put in a background here, in my opinion, it takes away from the texture of the actual, pattern. And I know that there's those out there that are needlepoint experts, and I totally get it, but that's just how I think. So anyways, I did find in my book that I showed you, and in the other book, I'm trying to see where I put it. I marked some things that I'm going to do for my husband for his birthday and a few things like that. So, I'm just really excited. Also, there used to be a background that is paper. And if I can find that again, I want to do some paper projects. So, tying in the 2 things I love needlepoint, I love paper. Matter of fact, as a little bitty girl, sorry, it's so noisy. All of a sudden the wind kicked up and the chimes are going crazy. As a little girl, one of the first crafting sewing projects I did outside of cutting fabric and making hand sewing clothes for my dolls. Yes, I was that kid. I had no clue what I was doing. I just took a needle and thread and tried to figure it out. My mom was always like, I cannot believe you did that. How I got fabric, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how, surely she gave it to me. But anyways, maybe I just went in my room, cut it out, sewed it, put it on my dolls. That's just what I did. And I was little, like maybe 7 or 8 years old. I was really little. And I was in something in church called Girls in Action, GAs. And one of the mission projects was related to that. And that's how it started. But I want the paper. They have a paper, canvas, and I may have to look online for it. They used to always have it at Hobby Lobby, but Hobby Lobby has changed a lot. And I just loved it. There is a needlepoint store up in Austin. I may look there as well. Now, the needlepoint store in Austin is gorgeous. It's changed hands. I remember when they were in the old place, and then they built the new place, and then they eventually sold, and it's really a studio. It's gorgeous. It's it's yummy. What can I say? But I can barely afford a needle in there. It's just so beautiful. But so I wanted to show you, I'm going to put this away. I wanted to show you this project. Hold on one second. I don't want to drop that. Okay, there we go. So what I did in this project was I did buy some things, and I just keep things in a Ziploc bag. I know you guys that are, and I have the cloth bag that you put everything in and it's nice and neat. But for me, I think it is so much easier. Like if I run out of a thread, I can go find it easier. So in the needlepoint shops, they have really nice thread. And sometimes you can find them online, or you can find them, well, you can find them online, but you can find them at like craft stores, and usually they're clearancing them. So whenever, like fabric stores used to have them, like Hancock, we don't have Hancock around here anymore, but I literally found a bag of floss and just different threads for that little Onglen Girl project, and they were clearly discounted for when they were closing out oh, what am I trying to say? A Hancock near our home. So this is just plain old DMC thread. You can use DMC thread. You can use these gorgeous, this is like a ribbon if you can't see it. Hold on. It's like this gorgeous ribbon, and you're thinking, well, that's not even going to show up. When it gets sewn into a project, it is gorgeous because it's glittery. It's a different texture. It's just beautiful. Another type, this is like a cotton DMC, I believe. Yes, DMC. And I love this. And I want to think it's a polished cotton, but I may be wrong. I just really haven't read anything lately. But you do have a number, just like you do with a DMC thread. So you're able to replace or replenish a little bit easier. So say you wanted a shade darker, you look at the next numbers around it. Or if you just need to replace because you didn't buy enough. Okay. Then these are my favorites. So this is from my friend who taught us all this beautiful craft. Oh, and just so you know, a DMC thread is just lots of threads put together that makes one. So in some like cross stitch things like that, you pull it apart. You don't use the full thread. You do similar things also in needlepoint, but one of the things that we were taught to do is you pull out one thread at a time. You don't just pull out two and then you lay them down, because they will still have a twist in them. Even if you just, hold on, I'll pull out two. Maybe this still has enough twist in it. But you just take them, you separate them, and see how it's twisting. So when I pull this out, this still has a crimp and a twist to it. And we were being taught, nope, you pull them out one at a time, you lay them, and then you begin your project. So I will do that later. But I wanted to show you, there's what that is. I wondered where that was. So I'm also going to show you this little trick too. So I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here that might spur your curiosity or encourage you to give this a try. Usually I'm better than this, but this has been here for a while. So I usually try to wrap the one I'm currently using on a piece of cardboard, and I have cardboard that looks like this. Hold on. And then I just keep it and I wrap it and then I put it back in. I did put it in my paper crafting area because it has a neat texture to it. So I may trade it out with like some really, janky cardboard, cardboard that doesn't matter. So, okay, this is gorgeous. This is a watercolor. It's by Karen, and it is just how to use a needlepoint, how to use in cross stitch. It is gorgeous. So this is Williamsburg. Now, I will tell you, because this is hand dyed, it's a 3-ply Pima cotton, 10 yards, hand painted. Because it is hand painted, I can't just order another one and expect it to be identical. Now, this is from many, 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 many years ago. This may even be, I don't think this is from 1994. I think I purchased additional thread because my friend taught us, beautiful projects. And so, because this looks just like her. And I always try to pick for each project one gorgeous, shishi poo poo thread. I'm a really frugal gal, and so this may be my shishi poo poo thread. This may be my shishi poo poo thread. I don't know yet, but if you ask me where I would come back in with this, I would find the biggest, thickest book, and that's probably where I'd add it. It's just one of those things that it needs to be kind of the center, the focal, or whatever it is that you want it to be, whatever you want to emphasize. Well, this is a teacher angel, and so yeah. I mean, that books are good, right? Okay. So there's that. So I wanted to show you that. Now, so my friend also put all these together. Well, she didn't put them together. She showed us hers and we went and copied it. Hold on. So it's just an old Altoids tin. Matter of fact, I found another one last night. I washed it out. It's drying somewhere over here. I can't remember where I put it. Oh, I tell you what, I can remember. There's that other book. And this one is gorgeous. And I have literally bookmarked tons of things and projects I want to do. So, and that's from a used bookstore too. Don't go pay retail. I mean, seriously, unless it's a very specific project. So, this is just an old, like, kids needle I found in the process. So I thought I'm going to save that because I may want to string. Now, this is just a small kit. I have big kits. I have tons of stuff. But my husband was very sweet last night. He went and got me needles. They are big and they don't fit in here. I hate to say I'm getting so blind that I need bigger needles. But this I may save for other projects. He was just trying. He bought me 2 packages of needles. So, and then this is just something, I think it's clover. I think I bought it at Hobby Lobby and it just holds your needles. So, this was probably the right needles, but I really prefer a certain brand of needle. I could order it, but I didn't want to. He was there and he said, okay, I came to Walmart for you. What do you want? And I was like, oh, okay. Cause he had to run errands. And I said, well, if you go to Walmart, give me a call. And he was very sweet. He went to Walmart for me. So I keep a little needle threader. You can use the wire ones, but they break. So see if you can find one of these little metal ones. They're fantastic. They're not expensive. Don't go buy an expensive one. And on top of it, I've put a little piece of sticky backed magnet and it just holds right there. I have my needles here. I have an extra large needle and I want to show you what that is. Now, oh wait, here it is. Okay, hold on. I was going to say, see, he bought me all these needles and they really are kind of big. Now, what I will do with these big needles is I'm going to come back in here and just thread it. Okay. And just let that, or not thread it, but poke it through. Let that sit at the bottom because I don't want to take a chance that one of these would fly out and then one of the grands would find it later. You know, that kind of a thing. But, so our teacher got us all these big needles. Now, you can use what's called a laying tool. And I have one somewhere, probably in one of my sewing bags. But you can also just get a very big, if you can't see, dull needle. And what you're going to do with it is it doesn't matter if it's a DMC thread or anything else, you're going to use that. Hold on, let me get in the light. Use that. And then then you thread. Then you, and I'm not going to do this for real because I can't see it. And, well, I guess I can. I can just show you that and then I'll go back through. This is really tiny, 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 tiny. So you just take it and all you're doing is you're making sure that you're laying it properly. Okay. And then you tighten it up and I'm not going to because I'm going to take it back out. It is really, really important when you're using a DMC floss because sometimes the floss will get like one strand will get a hiccup in it. And what you'll do is you'll just take it and you'll just work it here. Sorry, I'm not in the work it back and forth. If it still doesn't work, you take the needle off and then you smooth it all out. And you can just lay all the strands out, pick them apart, and then put them back together. And then, put them on the needle. So you can buy a laying tool or you can just get you a big old blunt needle. Okay, it works just the same. And that is a tip from my teacher. It had nothing to do that I knew anything about it. I knew nothing. Now, she is the person who has taken those classes at that gorgeous shop in Austin. And she does, she is taught and done, her home is like artwork. That's what she has all over it. The other thing I wanted to show you, and I'm going to go ahead and just take my needle off, is there is a magnet. So she showed us that if you get two hold on, I'm going to move that, very potent magnets, so strong, you can just put them there, and then when you're finished, you just stick your needle there. And even if the thread comes off, that needle, if it's a strong enough magnet, it'll stay. So those were just really great tips. Now, the last thing, I think I covered everything in here. Now, all of these, I will, again, put them on here so that, like I said, that there won't be something that falls out, that the grams won't get hurt, and I will do them by size. I will just do them by size and length and, the whole thing. And that way I'll have my own little, like, needle, little needle insert. And I should have done this when I got them, but seriously, it was late last night. By the time they got home, I had to serve dinner. We had to work on some discussions with our youngest daughter about where, what, when, that kind of a thing. So, here we go. And that is that. So, there's that. Here we go. And there's that. So, just decide how you want to do it. It's just a good, and this is not cheap felt. It's very nice, thick felt. I'm not going to pull it. It's going to pull apart. It's not going to be beat up to death if I put needles through it, that kind of a thing. But you don't need to buy like the most expensive one. This is a scrap. Seriously, it's just a scrap. So, all right, now, so you can see they all fell off. That's why we're going to fix that later. So I also wanted to share with you a couple of, and I'm seeing that got discolored. That tells you how old it is. The other thing, because of that discoloration, which I will gladly cover, that's not a big deal with my background, or we'll frame it out. The other thing that I highly recommend, in that shop, they sold these very gorgeous, thick plastic bags that you could put your project in. It keeps the dust off. Now this was stored in a one of those thick plastic bags in a storage box, plastic box. That probably happened with kids, who knows, with travel, who knows. You can use bedding bags. Yes, you heard it here. When you get your sheets from, wherever you buy your sheets or comforter sets, save the bags. They're fantastic to store clothes in. They're fantastic to store, to stow like even Christmas decorations, everything. They store fairly easily as long as you have like boxes underneath is how I do it. And then I laid those on top, because sometimes where you stack your boxes in storage, you may not have enough space for an actual box, but you can put that storage back on top. It's fantastic. They're waterproof. They're pretty bug proof. I mean, if you really are concerned about it, you could put like bay leaves or something in there. Whatever you feel like, but I of course wouldn't want it to stain anything. So you'd have to be careful how you laid any kind of deterrent in there. But so this needs a new bag, and I don't have one right now, but I will get one. Now, the other thing that she taught us, and we cannot find mine, I have two of them. I have a feeling one's in the cottage. I asked my youngest daughter to go look. She couldn't find one. So I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do. Am I going to go buy another one, or am I just going to hold out till I find it? I don't know. There is a one that you sit on, and it fits your chair better. And I think I might, if I do one, or there's a lap one. And I may go with one of those two. The other one, because I sit in a recliner, doesn't always fit the feet up underneath it and fit you correctly. My friend had one, but she sat in a very modern chair with a ottoman. And so it fit. It was almost like a Swedish design type, very comfortable chair. So I really think, and when you're working this, because you're working with the laying tool, you can't hold it. You have to find a way to either brace it against you or have something that holds it for you. It is really, I did all those projects up there without a stand. I'm pretty sure I did all of them without a stand. A lot of my projects that I've done without stands, because that's not how I learned. I didn't even learn to put things on frames until this class. And, I took that down. I would tell you, because you're going to ask me, well, where'd you get that frame? Needlepoint shop. And you need to know the dimensions, and then you just go in and you buy, these come together and then these come together. And so, so you're buying two sets and then you put it together. And it's not hard. I mean, it just fits together. Literally you can see how it just, let me see if you can, yeah, there we go. It just fits together kind of like that. And then you have a stretcher. So I have this piece of equipment, and it just stretches the fabric over, and then you use, pardon me, a heavy duty staple gun. Pardon me. Oh, you can tell cedar's blooming now. Got a sip of coffee. Okay. So here in Texas, when it gets warm or pretty or sunshiny in the winter, which I love because I love it to be warm, it causes the cedar to bloom. And then we get what's called cedar fever. And you will feel like you have been knocked flat if you've ever been hit hard with it. The first year back from Boston, I remember we went up this hill, of this decorated hill in Wimberley. Beautiful Christmas decorations, etc. At the top, was a manger and everything. And by the time I got to the top, I was sneezing so much I couldn't even hardly stop sneezing. Didn't have any tissue. I literally ran back down that hill, and I was not an agile gal. So I ran back down that hill, down the path to get in the truck and get tissue so I could get the sneezing away, and then, and just needed a tissue. And so it was kind of like, but when we get weather like this, it's gorgeous. And today we've had a cool front blow through, so it's nice and dry air. My husband's thrilled. I'm cold, but my husband's thrilled. So, and I'm happy for everybody. But that's why you hear all the stuff, the chimes blowing, and you hear my throat kind of occasionally gets a little. And I will start, we have what's called, for anybody here in Texas, get you some Texas cedar drops. And they work like a charm, and they now have them at H-E-B. There's my plug. Okay, anyways, so these are my projects for needlepoint, and I learned I would take my canvases to my friend. She would stretch them. She would staple them. I 100% think she did this one. It's too neat. She's so good, so I think she did it. But it's not hard. You can do it. I've done tons of canvases since then. Now, all this to the side, I also want to just share with you a very quick and no-brainer kind of project that I have been working on. So for Christmas this year, I'm doing my handmade soaps, and I love making soap. I used to do it years ago. I used to sell them. I have done it both ways. I've done it the old-fashioned cooking way, and then I've done the melt and pour. These will be melt and pour, but they will have things like oatmeal and really good essential oils. And these are really good quality bases. The melt and pour bases are very good quality. I will be using the best essential oils, the whole thing. And then I also have dried flowers I'm going to add in. So I'm going to match those with these little washcloths. And this is how I used to sell them. And so I did the men, the solid, the women, the more decorative. And I will just tie these up, and I will wrap the soap in a real pretty parchment, and then write on it what it is, or I don't know what else. I'm not sure. And then I will just tie these with a ribbon around the soap, and these make the best stocking stuffers. These are just, I used to always do something homemade for my children and for Christmas. And so this year I just decided, there's so many of us. When we were on that trip up to Michigan, I literally ordered off of Amazon. They delivered it to the hotel because I had taken some projects. And I decided, I want to do Christmas colors. And then I wanted to do something different for my grands. And I have 2 granddaughters. And I just decided something bright and cheerful. It looked better in the picture than it does in real life. And these were huge skeins. All of these are huge skeins that I buy. And so that's going to be it. I am going to make them so they have a full-size washcloth for the bathtub. And then I'm going to make them a little bitty tiny one. So when they're in there washing their hands by themselves, my youngest one will not, of course, but the oldest one does. And I want to make her one, and I will tie soap to these. And I want her to be able to have a little one, and the baby too, as she gets older, and they can wash their hands, they can wash their face even, and it won't make a big mess because this is all cotton thread. Now, lastly, I decided for my husband and I've only done one, and I just wanted to kind of test it, try it, see what I thought. So I made one this big, and we have a hand towel hook, and because these all have the ruffled edge, he can hang it and use that during Christmas and dry his hands. And I just thought, that's kind of fun. When everybody comes over, that's what I'll have. And I may do one for the kitchen. I don't know. I will do a tighter, if I did something for the kitchen, I would do a tighter crochet. So these are just crochet. There's nothing special to them. Any of you professional crocheters out there or expert crocheters, you're going to look at this and go, you got a lot of problems there. And I know I do. These are basic, no brain, watch TV and do them. So they're not perfect, but I kind of like, because as you wash these, they kind of shrink down a little bit and they get tighter. So I don't start with a really tight weave unless it's going to be in the kitchen. I start with a loose weave because they're 100% cotton, they do shrink. And I think it's great. I think they turn out wonderful. I always tell people don't dry them, that people do. And I mean, I'm even talking to my kids, but, you know, it's whatever you want to do. And for me, it's just a little touch of homemade here in the house. Now, they will pull on you, so you're just going to have to redistribute, you know, whenever you put the edging on, it will pull the ends out really nicely. But as you can see, it's exactly the same up and down. I count my rows every time. I count my stitches before I end a row, and I just try to make sure, because I know it will get a little distorted the bigger we get. So I've never made one that big before, but I just thought for this Christmas, yeah. So anyways, that's all I'm doing. I have more, and so I'm excited to give these as gifts. I have more bases of these made in my crochet bag. And yeah, and so I just have to put the edge on them. And I've got to make 2 more bases for my sister and brother-in-law, and I'll probably send one in the mail to my brother and sister-in-law. So I still have 4 more to make, but I'm not doing bad. And so today I'm hoping to get some of my soap started, or at least get everything sorted. I'm also hoping, we finished our brisket last night. My husband smoked it. It doesn't feel very tender to me, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do. He wanted to smoke the whole thing, so I may just go buy another brisket. I was going to make tamales for the first time ever with the smoked brisket. They're selling them at our local barbecue place here in town, but they're very expensive for a dozen. And it's, you know, for the cost of the meat is cheaper than the cost of, yes, the whole piece of meat, even if it's a small piece, is cheaper than the other. So what I think I may do is, I've got my crock pot out. I may go pick up one and then throw it through the crock pot, let it get good and, you know, tender and all that, or maybe slow cook it in the oven. I don't know. I haven't decided. And then put it on the grill, on our smoker, and let it just smoke and get that really good flavor. And then I'm going to make tamales. So I'm super excited for that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, that's just where we're at. So, so lots of projects right now. I also have some projects I want to paint today. I'm going to get some filming done for you guys ahead, because I still don't have my tree up. I have the house mostly decorated. There's one more thing I want to get up, but my youngest has to help me. And on days like this, they go out, they work outside. My husband's off, and he's been working inside, unfortunately. For his work, he has a 3 o'clock meeting. So at 3 o'clock, she's going to run a couple of errands in town for me. And then I am going to get her, we've got a whole bunch of bags for Goodwill over here. I sorted ahead. There's Christmas ornaments, Christmas things like that, that they hopefully can get out quickly. And I had started doing it in November, and it just got busy with the graduation and everything else. It just got crazy busy. So, but besides that, I think I'm good. I think I have just the last few projects to do. I'm going to be making candles. I'm going to be doing soap. I'm going to be doing gummies, homemade gummies, gummy bears, and gummy bunnies, and gummy monkeys. And for each particular person, they're going to get what they want. You know, they're going to get the flavor. But all those gummies will probably, I'll make some for my husband and my daughter for Christmas. My youngest is here, and our son and daughter-in-law, they're coming. I will make those for them. And then I will wait and do the grands and everybody else when we're going to get together with them and my sister and brother-in-law. So just fun stuff, trying to figure out new things, fun stuff, trying to work with this crazy gluten-free, sugar-free, all that good stuff free, trying new things, trying new recipes. It's good, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So I love getting creative again. To me, this isn't creative, but I know for some people they're going to go, oh no, that's creative. Please don't, you don't have to say that. To me, this is a no-brainer. I can do this when we were traveling in the car. I can do this when I've been watching a movie. I can do this when, I'm having a conversation with my husband. I can sit and do this. It works out really, really well. And it's an easy thing to take along. This is a bit more to take along, but I have traveled with these, especially the smaller sizes. It is no big deal to definitely always have a small project going. I won't right now, but I have some pre-stretched canvas on frames that are definitely this size. And so I've just got to go through and decide what I want to try next. I also have what's called a sampler that is much larger than even this. It's probably the size of this table. And I have 2 of those going with 2 different sets of all the squares of different stitches and different fab or threads. And, I love that stuff. It's so much fun. But anyways, so I'm excited. It's kind of a fun thing. So anyways, yes, I'm still a paper crafter. Yes, I'm still doing paper crafting. But I started out a crafter first. I painted, I just did all kinds of other things. And I used to have Crafts by Chris, all with K's, and it was fun. I used to go to shows. I very rarely didn't sell out. It was kind of one of those weird things back then. That was over 30 years ago. I know. So I'm not doing that anymore. My knees can't handle it. But we used to do craft shows forever, and I loved it. It's a fun thing. I used to do things with Creative Memories, of course, and craft shows, and I really just loved it. It really was a fun time. And so going through the basement, finding these old projects, it was a lot of fun. And then the other thing I did too is over here, I bought 6 or 8 baskets for the garden next spring. And so all those have got to get washed up. I got them at Goodwill. And then I have a little round one that is perfect without a lid. And I'm thinking I can start putting my projects in them and just display them for me to see oh, look at all I got done, instead of having them in, a Ziploc bag. But these are great bags too for when you travel and you do crafts. If you don't want to spend and buy expensive, bags, the needlepoint bags, just get you these. These are, you can get 100 for I think $9.99 on Amazon. You can get all different shapes and sizes, and I get the ones that work for me, and that's that. I use them for food storage, and I use them for this. So it worked really well for me. So I use them when we travel. I have never used packing cubes. I've used those. Now I do have for Christmas coming clear big bags that are for travel. They look like a small suitcase, which I'm thrilled with. And then I've bought packing cubes to go down in them for my daughter, my husband, and I, because when we take day trips, we could never check them on an airline. I would never check them on an airline, but you could carry them on an airline, and they would fit totally as a carry-on. It just carries like a suitcase instead of like a pull cart. And boy, that wind is really picking up. Can you hear that? And those are fantastic. And I will see if I like the packing cubes. If I get them, I think they're coming today and tomorrow. If I get them, I got them off of Amazon. If I don't like them, I definitely went for waterproof packing cubes that can be washed in the washing machine, or washed and then you hang them to dry. But if I don't like them, or if they don't fit just right, then I'll just return those or keep them for when we do use our real suitcases. But I've always just used Ziploc bags. That was a trick we learned traveling to China. We learned that they were going to go through a suitcase, and I didn't want them going through my drawers, so I literally put everything in Ziploc bags, and it was perfect. We never had one bag opened. All they had to do was pick it up, turn it over, look at it, and put it back in. And I learned that from a really good friend who went to Israel. And in Israel, they go through every little bit of your suitcase. So, all right, friends, that's it. That's it for my projects. I hope this encourages you to try something new. Get out there and do something new, or do something that you used to do that you may be too blind to still do, but get you a magnifying glass and jump in. Jump in with both feet and just enjoy the journey and get creative and get messy and make gifts for other people. And it could be totally wompy jawed and they're not going to care. They're just going to love that you made it for them, that it was made with love. I also am making wassail for everyone. I have tons of herbs that I saved from the garden that I'm going to be making teas. Everybody's going to get a little basket of goodies. And I wish I had more of those round baskets because I could fill it up, but that I got at Goodwill. But Goodwill, you get what you get. And I do have some other baskets I found downstairs that I brought up. I may or may not use those. I may use them for my own stuff. We'll see. But, you get through this journey and then you go, oh, I could make this and give this to someone and they would feel blessed. I literally made my sister for her birthday a big, huge jar of, it's what I always called spiced tea, but the recipe online said friendship tea. And it's just tang lemonade and unsweet instant tea. And I think cloves and cinnamon. I can't remember the exact recipe. And I made so much that I have another whole container that like the tang came in. So I'm going to give it to her for Christmas. And she goes, yay, give it to me. I'm going to take these to work. I remember we used to always make this for me. And it took 10 minutes to make. And you would have thought that I had spent 5 years making it for her. And I remember I used to do it in baby food jars because when my kids were little, and I would put them in baby food jars, tie a ribbon around it, put some cloth over the top, and I'd give them as gifts. And anyways, long story short, she used to be like, oh, I love this stuff. She was the only person who said that. And I was like, okay. And so anyways, I just thought this year at the last minute, I thought, I'm going to look that up online, see if I can find it. And I even told her, I said, you can make this yourself. It's not hard. It's super easy. And she's like, no, I love it when you make it for me. So anyways, I'm making her that and pesto without pecans. She can't have any tree nuts. So she doesn't know. Shh, don't tell her. She probably won't watch this, but I'm making her pesto without pecans. And she can't have any kind of nut. So if you have any ideas out there, guys, leave it in the suggestions below. All right, guys, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to quit talking. Love you guys. Hope you guys are having a great day. Be crafty. I pray your day is blessed, creative, and lovely. And I love you guys. All right, guys, have a great day. Talk to you soon. Y'all take care. Be safe. Bye-bye.